I'm a big believer you have to become a lifetime learner. I heard a statement one time that basically said people overestimate what they can accomplish in a short period of time, and they way underestimate what they can accomplish in a long period of time. And what that really speaks to is the fact that we have to have this growth mindset. We have to have a long-term view, and we have to figure out where we want to go, and then we have to reverse engineer a plan. Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and for this video, we're going to be talking about the 6 ways to build generational wealth, because if you're anything like me, you believe that it is our responsibility to leave the next generation with more than what we inherited. Now, I'm not just talking about money here. I'm talking about mindset. I'm talking about habits. I'm talking about education and understanding. And ultimately, there are things that every single person can do to make sure that the next generation is taken care of. And so what I want to do in this video is go through all those different things that you can do to accomplish that successfully and leave the next generation better off. So let's get into this. Number 1 is adopting a growth mindset. Now, I'm a big believer you have to become a lifetime learner. I heard a statement one time that basically said people overestimate what they can accomplish in a short period of time, and they way underestimate what they can accomplish in a long period of time. And what that really speaks to is the fact that we have to have this growth mindset. We have to have a long-term view, and we have to figure out where we want to go, and then we have to reverse engineer a plan. Stephen Covey said it in his book, 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, that we have to start with the end in mind, begin with the end in mind, and reverse engineer a plan to get there. If we don't know where we're trying to go, it's going to be impossible to get there successfully. And so this idea of becoming a lifetime learner simply means that you play an active role in what you're doing. You have an active role in understanding what you're trying to do as far as your estate goes, what you're trying to do as far as your investments go, what you're trying to do as far as your education for your kids go, what you're doing for your own education, the masterminds, the groups, the mentorship, the books you read, the videos you watch, the courses you buy, any of that stuff, the type of advisor and financial strategies that you utilize, all of that stuff is extremely important. And how you view your growth mindset versus just kind of being stagnant and becoming a lifetime learner is ultimately going to be, that's why I put it number 1, because this one trait will ultimately flow into all these other areas. So that's number 1. Number 2 is you have to have a clear plan for your money. Don't just set it and forget it with a financial advisor. That's one of the biggest mistakes that I kind of see people make, is how can you expect to be successful if you're just giving your money to somebody that ultimately probably doesn't have the full understanding of what your lifetime goals and objectives are. Unfortunately, most financial advisors are just salespeople. And while there's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, salespeople are what accomplish all of this stuff. They're the people that move these financial products. I don't care if you're talking about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, life insurance, annuities, they're all the same thing. They're all commissionable products, or they're all fee-based products, right? And so when you look at, the fact is, salespeople are on the back end of every financial product pretty much out there that most Main Street investors will use. And so from that perspective, what I say to people is, what I try to coach people through, I should say, is that you have to have a clear plan for your money. And there's no person in the world that should care more about your success than you care about for your own. And so if you take number 1 and you take that, become a lifetime learner into it, and you have a growth mindset, and you're really educating yourself on the different financial strategies and different types of investments and different products that you can get involved with, and different types of investments that you can make, then you can go out and you can make better choices, right? You can make choices that are more in alignment with your values, choices that are more in alignment with your objectives. So this idea of just buy and hold for 30 to 40 years, just set it and forget it with a financial advisor who, quite frankly, if they are more active in what your financial strategy is than you are, and you're just kind of setting it and forgetting it, then you pretty much deserve whatever comes your way when the market corrects, or when your your policy values or your account values don't reach what you want, where you expect them to go to help you reach your goals, because that's just ultimately what's going to happen. That's why 95% of people in this country, in North America, are way behind track, way behind pace where they need to be able to retire and maintain their standard of living. And it's these, if you look at number 1 and number 2 here that I've covered now, these 2 things alone make all the difference. So that leads us to number 3, and that is save money before investing. Most people take on way too much risk way too early, and they don't set their life up for financial stability, which prepares them for the ups and downs of the market. They feel like they're doing well, I should say, for a period of time, but because they're too exposed to too much market risk and they don't have enough safe money, they wind up losing 5 to 10 years of effort when things ultimately turn south in the market. Remember, the market is cyclical. It's not linear. What that means is it goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down. And what happens is people during the up cycles, we've been like right now, for instance, we've been in this long-term bull market. People are feeling really good. Unfortunately, there's a lot of unjustified or unwarranted comfort with people's finances because things have been going so well. Now, when the market takes a turn and we go through a bear market cycle, which is going to happen, unfortunately, this is the cycle of things. People that are feeling like they're really comfortable right now are going to wind up realizing that they're not as comfortable as they thought they were, and they're not prepared to weather that storm, and they're not set up properly to weather that storm. So making sure that you have enough safe, accessible capital during those times is the key to make sure you are going to succeed in that environment. And so making sure, number 3, that you have enough safe money first. You need to save before you go and invest, because by doing that, you also put yourself in a situation where you could take advantage not only of the market cycles, but you're taking advantage of compounding, because you're allowing your other investments to operate better for you. You're allowing them to do what they need to do inside of your financial plan. So then number 4 is buy cash flowing real estate. Now there's so many benefits to owning real estate as an investment. I think it's really important. I'm a big believer. The 1031 exchange rule is just one of these benefits, right? It allows you to delay the tax ramifications of the increase in your property value. All the while, this is really cool because you can actually depreciate the property and get annual tax benefits. That way, while at the same time you're earning positive cash flow, you get to take advantage of tax benefits. And so the cash flow is going to help you achieve your goals faster. It's going to increase your living potentially, or you can compound the cash flow and reinvest that and get to where you want to go faster. This is one of the biggest reasons I wrote my book, Cashflow Hacking, is because there's no financial product or asset on the face of the earth that's better than cash flowing real estate to be able to do this for you. Then here's where it gets even better. When you pass on real estate, you hand it off to your heirs with a step up in cost basis. Now, what that is just a fancy way of saying that your heirs don't need to pay the tax on the gains or the appreciation of the real estate. They can simply take over the cash flow and repeat the process. It's pretty awesome. So that gets us to number 5, which is being aware and educated of your lifetime tax liability, not just your annual tax liability. Too many people make very short-term decisions as far as the tax benefits go. And what I think is really important is for people to understand the tax environment and understand what their lifetime tax liability is going to be. One of the things I always kind of tell people is there's no free lunches. You're not going to get out of this avoiding taxes altogether. Now, the wealthier you get, the more sophisticated your financial strategies become, the more you could take advantage of certain tax loopholes. Out of the gate, I think it's really important to understand that you need to take an airplane view, and you need to look at a lifetime liability perspective and try to set yourself up to understand that sometimes it makes sense to just pay taxes in a low tax rate environment, to have control of that money, and realize that you don't have that taxation risk and political and government risk with them being able to increase your taxes, like in qualified plans, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, accounts of that nature. People don't realize how much risk there is in those accounts. And while they made sense when they were created in the early 80s because taxes were really high, they don't make sense right now when taxes are at all-time lows and people are trying to get this tax break today to only likely pay more taxes later. And that leads me to number 6, which is utilizing a whole life insurance policy as the foundation of your financial life. Now, I know that may sound weird, but this is kind of how I look at it very simplistically. Everybody needs an emergency fund. Everybody should have access to cash in case of opportunity, in case of the bear market cycles that I was talking about. And everybody should have life insurance to make sure that our families are protected. Now, I always tell people, whole life insurance is the only way to make sure that what you want to happen will happen when you want it to happen, whether you're here to see it or not. Now, that said, let's talk about the emergency fund. Now, where are you going to save your emergency fund? Most people save it in a savings account. You can save it in a savings account and lose money to inflation, or you can keep it in a whole life insurance policy that's properly designed. And what that's going to be is going to be effectively like your savings alternative, like a bank alternative for your safe, liquid accessible capital, right? And what this is going to do right now in today's environment long-term is going to get you about 45 times higher returns than it's going to get in your savings account. And long-term, whole life policies have proven to be a great storage of capital and a great hedge to inflation because of the fact that they beat inflation. The performance, they're not investments, but they will make sure that you have liquidity of your money. So unlike bonds or CDs, you'll have liquidity of the money, but you'll also get better returns. So as far as safe, guaranteed, accessible money, nothing beats a whole life policy. So that's where you should keep your emergency fund. Otherwise, your emergency fund, you're going to have to be fighting inflation to make sure you're not losing purchasing power to that every single year. Now, on the other side of things, I talked about the market volatility, the cycles, the boom bust cycles that we go through. Having access in case of opportunity in the down cycles is really important. And so utilizing whole life insurance, it operates as your emergency fund, but when the times hit, when there's opportunity, Warren Buffett always says you got to make money when there's blood in the streets, right? And so having access to capital for opportunity in those environments is extremely important. Once again, where are you going to keep that money? There's no place better that will beat inflation, get you better returns, and have liquidity of that capital if you design it properly than a whole life policy. And then at the end of the day, I call it a self-completing plan because everybody should have life insurance because let's face it, we don't know what the future holds. We don't know how our health is going to hold up. We don't know if something tragic is going to happen to us. And so we want to make sure we're prepared for every environment. And having that life insurance ensures that the next generation is going to be able to accomplish what we're setting out for them. And the beautiful thing is when you add all 6 of these together, it forces you to become more. It forces you to become a better person. And I don't mean a better person like morally speaking. I mean better with your finances, more effective with your financial strategies. And it's going to force you to be more involved. And what's going to happen is your education, how you grow. Listen, the reason you aren't where you want to be yet is because you're not the person you need to be yet to accomplish that. That's the same for me. It's the same for you. It's the same for every single person watching this video, every single person on the face of the earth. We should all, if we start with number 1 and we go to that growth mindset, no matter where you go, I'm a big believer. Our job is to maximize our contribution on this earth. Whatever that looks like to you, it's different for everybody. But when you have that growth mindset, that means Tony Robbins talks about it all the time. We always need progress. That is the human condition. That is what makes us fulfilled, is progress. And so we're all at different stages of the journey, but when you start and you're chasing that progress, what I love about it is this, when you tap all these in together, the growth mindset and then all the different strategies and types of investments that you're going to be using are going to force you to become somebody different than you are now to get to where you want to go. But that's a beautiful, beautiful thing because you're never going to do that simply by following traditional financial strategies. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. If you have any comments, any questions at all, comment in the comment section below. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the bell. That way you get notified every single time I launch a new video. I am launching a ton of content because, listen, we are, I think, coming into a period of time where being prepared, having your finances in alignment with being prepared for the boom bust cycle, having that emergency fund, having that opportunity fund has never been more important than in most of our lifetimes than it is right now. So any comments, comment in this comment section below. I'll do my best to engage with every single one of them. Till next video, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon. See ya.